Let me ask you something weird. Have you ever felt like reality just glitched? Like a random déjà vu, or a streetlight that flickers right as you pass by? Now imagine this. What if these little moments weren't just your imagination, but signs that reality, as you know it, might be a lie? Not metaphorically, literally. That's not the plot of a new sci-fi show. It's the core of multiple, mind-bending theories that scientists, philosophers, and even tech billionaires are taking very seriously. Welcome to the rabbit hole. Let's start with the most famous mind-bender, simulation theory. Popularized by philosopher Nick Bostrom in 2003, it proposes a seemingly outrageous idea. We're probably living inside a highly advanced computer simulation. Here's the logic. If a civilization survives long enough, it will eventually develop tech powerful enough to simulate entire worlds, complete with conscious beings inside. Think The Sims. But with physics engines so advanced, the characters think they're real. Now, here's where it gets creepy. If just one civilization in the universe gets to that level, the number of simulated realities would vastly outnumber real ones. So statistically, it's more likely we are in one of those simulations than in the one true reality. This isn't just stoner talk or Reddit theory crafting. Elon Musk famously said, "There's a 1 in billions chance we're in base reality." Neil deGrasse Tyson puts the odds at about 50-50. And physicists have begun exploring this too. Some claim there may be limits to the resolution of our universe, like pixels on a screen. Think Planck length, the smallest measurable unit of space. Could that be the smallest pixel in the code? The double-slit experiment, where particles behave differently depending on whether they're being observed, adds even more fuel. If reality changes based on observation, is it being rendered in real time, like a video game? But what if it's not about simulations or machines? What if the universe needs you to exist? That's the premise of biocentrism, a theory by stem cell pioneer Dr. Robert Lanza. In this view, consciousness creates reality, not the other way around. Time and space? They don't exist independently. They're just tools your brain uses to interpret the world. Lanza suggests that the universe only exists because you're aware of it. It sounds wild until you consider that in quantum mechanics, particles exist in all possible states, until you look at them. Observation literally collapses infinite possibility into a single, defined event. It's like the universe is just a blank canvas, and your consciousness is the brush. Take this real-world twist. In a delayed-choice quantum eraser experiment, particles seem to change their behavior based on a future decision. In other words, the present changes based on a future event. That's not science fiction. That's peer-reviewed quantum physics. So, who's really in charge here? Here's a theory that flips the dimensional table. What if everything you see, feel, and experience in 3D is actually encoded on a 2D surface? This is the holographic principle, proposed by physicist Leonard Susskind, and based on earlier work by Stephen Hawking and Gerard 't Hooft. Think of a credit card hologram. It looks 3D, but it's a 2D imprint. According to this theory, the entire universe might work the same way. Everything that happens in our 3D world, including space, time, and gravity, could be encoded on a 2D boundary far away. Why would scientists believe something that sounds so bizarre? Black holes. When matter falls into a black hole, its information doesn't disappear. It gets encoded on the black hole's 2D surface, called the event horizon. So physicists wondered, could the whole universe work the same way? Mathematically, the idea checks out. It could solve a lot of issues with reconciling general relativity and quantum mechanics. In fact, researchers at Fermilab and other institutions are actively trying to detect quantum jitter that might reveal the pixelated nature of space-time. Translation. The universe might be a 3D movie playing on a 2D screen. Let's push deeper. Most people think reality is objective. It's out there, independent of us. But in 2019, a study based on a thought experiment called Wigner's Friend suggested something else entirely. The premise is this. 2 observers measure the same event but get different results, and both are correct in their own frames. This was tested experimentally by physicists at Heriot-Watt University in Edinburgh. They used entangled photons and created a real-world version of the thought experiment. The result? Measurements by different observers conflicted, and yet both stood as valid within quantum mechanics, which means objective reality may not exist. That's not philosophy. That's physics. So when you argue with someone and feel like you're living in different realities, maybe you actually are. Let's talk about time. It feels linear, right? Past, present, future. You're born, you live, you die. But physics doesn't agree. Enter the block universe theory, which suggests that all points in time, past, present, and future, already exist. You're not moving through time. You're experiencing slices of an already complete block, one moment at a time. Einstein hinted at this himself, saying, "The distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion." Think of a DVD. Every scene is already encoded on the disc. But you experience the story in a sequence. Here's the weird implication. You may already be dead in some slices and not yet born in others. But all of those versions of you exist simultaneously. And this isn't just science fiction. In general relativity, time is treated as a dimension, not a flow. Some cosmologists believe that time may even be emergent, not fundamental. So what if your sense of time is just your brain rendering data frame by frame? So far we've asked if reality is fake, shaped by observation, encoded in 2D, and if time is just a trick. But here's the core question that unites all these theories. What is consciousness? Science can explain brain chemistry, but it can yet explain subjective experience. Why red looks red, or why love feels like anything at all. That's the hard problem of consciousness, and it's stumped philosophers and neuroscientists alike. Some theories suggest consciousness is not a byproduct of the brain, but a fundamental property of the universe, like space or time. This idea, called panpsychism, says that everything, atoms, rocks, stars, has a form of consciousness. You're just a complex version of it. If that's true, it means consciousness didn't emerge from the universe. The universe emerged from consciousness. Let that one sit for a second. If reality is simulated, or dreamt into being by your mind, or a 3D projection of 2D data, then the universe is far stranger than we ever imagined. It means science and spirituality might not be enemies, but reflections of the same unknowable truth, seen from different angles. And it means every moment of your life, every breath, every thought, is both meaningless and infinite, fake and real, illusion and awareness. So the next time the lights flicker, or you get that eerie déjà vu, don't brush it off. Maybe it's just the code rewriting itself, or the universe blinking. Or maybe, just maybe, it's the moment you realize you were never in reality. Reality was always inside you. If your brain feels a little melted right now, you're not alone. If you want more videos that challenge what you think you know about the world, hit that like button. It tells the algorithm you're into this kind of deep weirdness. And subscribe so you don't miss the next reality-bending rabbit hole we dive into. Oh, and turn on the bell, because apparently time isn't real, but notifications still are. See you in the next dimension.